Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn. Welcome to the Wellness Way Quick Tip, and a little different format today. Okay, sitting with me is 4 incredible docs that are spread out from all over the country. We're gonna introduce everybody, and then we're gonna have a nice discussion today. So thank you for everybody joining us as everybody's starting to pop on here. We see all the people. Oh, good morning, Rachel. We just saw Rachel down in Largo, Florida. Thanks for popping on. Heather, all you guys. Oh, Fancy Nancy, your husband's on already this morning. So Brian's on. So good morning, everybody. It's popping on. Let me introduce to you 4 incredible doctors from all different parts of the country. We have Dr. Justin Pierce, and his beautiful bride is Dr. Shannon Pierce. She is over still at our house there, kind of, you know, having a fun time this morning. So he is joining us this morning from Lexington, Kentucky. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
And then we have Dr. Justin Moseley, and his beautiful wife, Dr. Courtney, is actually hanging out at the house. And so they're from Nashville, Tennessee. Then we have Dr. Jeremy Maxwell, and his beautiful wife is actually at our house also, Shelby. And he's from Columbia, Missouri. And then we have Dr. Mel Anderson over there from Denver. She doesn't have a beautiful wife, okay? So.
But I have been at the house all week.
Yes, but she's been at the house training all week. So, yeah, but thank you guys so much for joining us. I want to just say welcome, all you guys.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for spending some time with us. It's so great because the one thing I can honestly say, you know, I love being a doc. I mean, we all love being docs. But I can tell you right now, one of the coolest parts about being a doc in a group like this is being able to hang out with people like this. Doc and Mel has been training here from Denver all week. These guys flew in all yesterday that way. We've been having a blast and growing each other. You know, like I said, as you guys see our videos on priorities and perspective and growth and everything like that. And so today, I'm going to probably do the least talking besides the intro here, because the one thing that I wanted to cover today is, instead of training you guys on some major, you know, thing as far as, you know, the thyroid or GI or liver and stuff that we do in our quick tips, I wanted you guys to get their perspective, because we all come from a very similar path, the fact that why we became docs and why we actually do what we do, because what we do isn't easy. You know, what we do, for example, now is it clinically not easy, but there comes with a lot of criticism. Yet, here's the one thing, and so here's how I want to set up, guys, is the fact that this is your perspective on healthcare today. Because once again, you're going to find out, I believe, now remember, I didn't get their answers on this. As you know, the DPF show is always raw and unscripted. They're allowed to say whatever they want, however they want. And because there's going to be some exciting things, some frustrating things, because how we view healthcare is what really honest drives us every day to come to the office. Because once again, we love being docs, but it's not all sunshines and roses. So let's start with Dr. Justin down here at the end. Dr. Justin Pierce. We got Dr. Justin, Dr. Justin. Just think, you know, Pierce and Moseley here. So, Doc, why don't you give us your perspective on healthcare, the direction it's going, and like I said, we'll just go around the table here.
Yeah, it's broken. You know, and you see people walk in each day in the office, and they don't have hope. They've lost hope, or they have false hope that a drug, a pill, a medication, a surgery, they can be cut to health, they can be poisoned to health. It just doesn't work. And then they're sick and they're struggling and they're just spiraling down. And I had somebody just the other day, they called, they reached out to us on Facebook, and, you know, my son has got, you know, ulcerative colitis and digestive issues and depression and all these medications and surgeries and going down the list. But like, now the doctors can't figure out what to do next. They don't know what to do, and his blood work and lab work is normal. So what do? Nothing. They can't figure out what to do. So she says, "Can you help?" I said, "Well, listen, we got to look and find out. We have to test. We have to get to the underlying triggers. What's going on? What's causing these problems? We need to do something different if you want something different." And so we scheduled her appointment, and then a couple days later, she cancels her appointment, says my son decided to go with the gastro or whichever doctor, because you know, he told them that they got this new drug that they can try. Everybody wants a quick fix.
Yep.
They don't want to work for it. Yet you've worked for it every single day to get to the point to where you are today, to be sick, but you don't want to put in the work and effort to get well, and it just drives me crazy.
You said 2 important things. The one thing I could tell, and this is one thing I love about the docs. And I want to say, let's say hi to all the docs across the country. You know what I'm saying? We got all of our awesome docs, you know, from West Coast, East Coast, you know, to Hawaii, to everything that way. And the one thing that just even how Doc started off, and you're going to see some very similar patterns. You first saw a love and sympathy for a person that's suffering. But then you actually get a little frustrated.
That's right.
See, that's one thing people are like, Doc, it's just awesome being a Wellness Way doc. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it sucks because you're battling that mindset of how healthcare is actually in their thinking and perspective dominated. So, Doc, what you got for us?
Yeah, and I think we all agree with that perspective.
Yes.
And really, it started out this morning, we were talking about perspective from a mindset point of view. Oh, yeah, the mic here. So just from a personal growth, we were talking about perspective. Because even if we look personally, there's who we think we are, there's who we think others think we are, what others actually think of us, and then who we really are. And all of those are different perspectives.
Wow.
And we get way caught up in what we think others think we are anyways. So when it comes to health, it doesn't matter what perspective someone's coming from, whether they think they got their health on the right track or they're like, hey, I have no clue about health. I eat Skittles for breakfast and I have Twizzlers in my pocket right now. We can be your guide to a healthier life.
Did you know Nancy before? That was Nancy.
I did hear yesterday. Skittles was Nancy's
She was
favorite.
big on Skittles. So, wow. So that perspective is huge.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge. Oh my goodness. That's yeah, because there's so many different ways and directions to look at it that way. So it's yeah, that's absolutely mind blowing to think of that everybody's coming from that different perspective. So, Doc, what you got for us?
Well, it's just trying to get people on the same page where we're at in regard to the body. I know in my own office, I really just try to help people see the magnificent ability of the body. I mean, what we've been given is amazing, and just kind of, I call it getting the awe back to what the body can do.
You know, I'm doing a hormone connect seminar, even doing inflammation talk and stuff, and we use the example of, you know, your big toe controls your heart, being the fact that if you smash your big toe, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up. And I literally look at people now and say, if I smash your toe and your blood pressure goes up, should we give you a med? Should we give you all the herbs and potassium and magnesium, or should we get off your darn toe? Do you understand? Yeah. And one thing that it's such a different way of thinking. Now there's a cool story. He doesn't know I'm going to ask him to tell this. Obviously, we will never use names, but when you start to share a different kind of message, Doc actually transformed somebody's life, a doc's life. Okay, so once again, not going to talk any names or anything like that, but tell them even what happened, that all you got the doctor to do, a doctor that was sick, change a couple things, change his perspective, and it dramatically changed his marriage life, his sex life, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And he reached out because he didn't know of anywhere else to turn. And he knew that we were working people with hormone things, and he had gone through hormone replacement. He said, I don't want to take shots the rest of my life, but I don't know of another answer. Can you help me? And as we started to work with him, it was simple changes too for him. And as we started to make the simple changes, immediately he started getting results. And yeah, like you said, I mean, his marriage changed. He got his sex drive back. He got his energy back. He became a man again of who he wanted to be. And that's the power of what we can do, and especially not even just for the community, but our colleagues and our friends, we can actually help them as well.
And the one thing, that's why I do love this statement. Like I said, we're going to put it up again. I want everybody to throw out a hashtag today, okay, because that was the perspective is, if you look at what happens in healthcare, you look at anything, you know, we talk about healthcare realm, is just the simple aspect. I've always even taught my daughters, way before we even came up with the hashtag that way. Whenever somebody says something that's dumb, you don't have to argue with them. All you have to do is raise your hand and say, I disagree. And it drives them absolutely nuts because they're going to argue with you to try to get you to think like them. And I'm sitting there going, man, if you agree with healthcare right now, do you understand, and how they run it, okay, I disagree. I disagree with it. I disagree with what they're doing. I disagree how they have the perspective. I disagree how they convince patients because it's destructive. You know, you're talking about that doc that was on hormone replacement therapy. He might have managed some things for a little bit, but he wasn't living life. Do you understand? So one thing that I just realized is, holy mackerel, we got a ton of people on right now. Yeah. And there's a couple people that say a shout out to a lot of people. So let's go through and let's see who's all on, because I saw some of the people that said, who's on?
Dr. Don.
Dr. Don is on from your office that way. Let's say hi to everybody and stuff. Jean, Annie's on. Alyssa's on. Alyssa, was awesome talking to your mom the other day. Nice to see you. Carla from Upper Michigan's on. Hello, Carla. Wait, who's Jeff Moseley?
That's my dad. My dad and my mom are both watching.
Dad!
Hey.
Hello again. Yes, I met your mom and dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I apologize, Mr. Moseley. I forgot your name was Jeff. Okay, so I can't lie. Yes, Mr. Moseley. I had to call Mr. Moseley. Okay. Hello, Claire. There was someone that said Dr. Patty's on. Alice, hello. Dr. Jerry's on. Holly, nice to see ya. Robbie, Tracy. I have a really awesome lady I've been taking care of for a long time. Her first name's Tracy, but she always says Sunny too, so it's awesome talking to her that way. Hello, good morning, Rachel. Jean, good morning. Clara's on. Oh, Rachel England Lee. Shout out to Dr. Moseley and stuff. So Jean's on, Cherry's on. Hello, everybody.
Where's my
Janelle. What's that?
Where's your shout out?
Your wife gave you a shout out.
She did? Okay, good.
She did.
Thank
Your
you,
wife
honey.
did. Dr. Kelvy. Hello, Dr. Kelvy. Dr. Kayleen is on. Oh, and Courtney gave you a green heart. See, a lime green heart on top of that way. And so.
Shout out to all you Como people watching.
Yes. Well, I love it. It's kind of cool. Roxanne Smith, love the toe analogy. Actually, that's one thing. Here's the one thing that's quite interesting. And, Doc, you stimulated my brain this morning from this morning all the way to now. It's perspective.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. It's really funny. That's why I think that we use so many analogies.
Yes.
Because it's hard to walk through that and still try to argue with it. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because it's like, the perspective of, if you do have high blood pressure, yeah, medication can change it. Yes, natural things can change it. But I disagree. I disagree with that approach. It's like, and if they're so right, and I mean in general, if the natural and medical movement is so right, get this. So here, get this. So I was speaking at a seminar, a chiropractic seminar. Then I did a hormone connection seminar, and think about this because everybody's so excited. One woman said to me one time, she goes, "Doc," she goes, "Aren't you excited that there's more health food stuff ever in history?" I said, "Listen, we have 70 different kind of milks out there now that you can do, from hemp milk to cockroach milk. It does exist. Cockroach milk to camel milk.
Okay.
Yet the rate of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, infertility still went up in 2018. You guys agree with me?
You
Give some
choose
thoughts.
just like we choose, and you talk about the healthcare system where we all hold this up strongly. It really was clear to me the other day when a vet came in. I love vets. I mean, they're dear to my heart because of what they've done for our country.
Mm-hmm.
And to see what kind of care those individuals get, it breaks my heart. And this is where we can't always have this discussion on the same plane because they talk healthcare and they think, why can't this stuff you guys do get paid? Because it's two different systems.
Yep.
Yes.
One's a sick system, one's a normal system, and you can't bring that in. And so this guy's in this dichotomy of, I want what you have, yet I'm stuck with this doctor that has to jump through all these things. And in order for me to get my benefits through the VA, I have to do this, 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 and this. And he's just beyond himself because they've taken months to get proper imaging done. They've got him on acid blockers, and he's like, I know that's not the problem. So I'm trying to say, look, you got to choose which field you're going to play in. Because if you try to do both, then, and that's what the doctor said. He's like, well, if you do that, then I can't take care of you anymore.
Wow.
And so now they're in this place. He's like, I just want to feel good. And then that's where we become so passionate, so infuriated to some degree. It's like all we want is for everybody that we come in contact with is we know that if you follow us, we can show you how to be the best version of you.
But where you can feel good, but also be well.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between feeling good and being healthy.
Yeah.
And I tell patients all the time, it's like, I don't just want you to feel good. And in fact, I don't care if you feel good or not.
No.
The idea is that I'm going to change your life and get you healthy. I'm going to get you well. But when I get you healthy and get you well, guess how you're going to feel? But you can feel good and still be sick.
Yep.
Yep. And I think that's the biggest disconnect with patients in healthcare right now is that they just because they don't feel sick every day or they don't feel symptoms every day, they assume that they're healthy. They assume that they're well, and then something happens. There's that straw that breaks the camel's back where they're all of a sudden sick.
My favorite's the side effects. Like you have acid reflux, and so like the literally the commercial, the drugs are telling you you're gonna have explosive diarrhea. You're never going to be able to wake up in the day. You're never going to have sex again. Like, you can't eat any food, but you won't have any acid in your stomach anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, was worth it. No, it's not worth it. Like, good God, like I'll take some acid, you know.
After you said sex, I was done listening.
I
know. No drug for me. Okay.
But speaking of changing perspective, and that's the bigness of your page, is open people's mind to a new perspective. And you see a lot of people that have been following you for a while, their thoughts change because they're coming to you for answers.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of like you guys watching at home. Because shout out to Frida. Frida
Yes.
was following your page for a long
Frida
time.
Miller.
I actually connected with Frida through Dr. Flynn, one of his Facebook Lives, and she lives near Nashville. We've been able to connect with her and Danielle. I met Danielle in Nashville, and she was like, "My sister told me to watch Dr. Patrick Flynn. I've been watching his stuff. I love what you guys do." So Lorna is a long-time listener, and but people are getting a new perspective from you. They're not being out in the world, their regular everyday life. They're not hearing this message. So that's why we have to get this message out there from a new perspective to open people's minds to this.
And then that's why I have to give Ross a shout out on this. That's why when he created the term, the us we are culture, it's us, but it's also you guys. Yep. We can't, we can bring a message of, I disagree, but you want something? You guys disagree. You guys disagree because you have to live the life of listening to other people's opinions and still end up just as sick. So it says the Us We Are culture is not just all the Wellness Way docs. The Us We culture is all of us bringing something to you guys, and if it makes sense, you know what I'm saying, then you actually get to join us in that culture, and that's a cool thing because here's what happens. Let me show you the culture that's out there. So I pulled up a text message while Doc was talking because you guys stimulated my brain on something that way, and I read this to you yesterday because I was a little mad. I was actually a little mad because there was a wonderful woman that came to me because she bled rectally every day. And this is not the person that you guys see at the start of my inflammation talk. This is another woman. She was referred in by a good friend of ours, and that came here for infertility. And what happens is this, and she was seeing some amazing doctors down at the University of Wisconsin-Madison that told her that pooping blood every day, it's okay. Okay?
Totally
and so
normal.
so of course we reversed that whole process that way. She ended up coming in, and then of course then it was kind of neat because I was always hoping one day that she would want to have babies and stuff like that, but they cautioned her against that because of her health issue that way. Well, recently over the last couple months she got pregnant, but then she saw the OB and she sent me this message. The OBGYN said it's up to me, but that it would make her sleep better at night if I took a baby aspirin every day. And she goes, think, and then she has an emoji like this. Now the great thing, like she said, she doesn't make sense. She doesn't want to do it. But see, even though no doctor has ever helped her, she was seeing all these docs and still bleeding rectally. What happens is, and we for example, have worked with her and totally transformed her health. Her husband just jacked up, excited. Everything changed on there. But because the constant bombardment from family, from friends that don't even really understand what we do that way, just even when the doctor says this and this, and then people say, well, your doctor said, I have to come up with something. Maybe I have to do a teaching on saying, when your doctor says this, it's not gospel.
Yeah.
This is not the Holy Bible that you opened up and say, you know what I'm saying? Your doctor is not Jesus, okay? I'm sorry, he's not. You know what I'm saying? But I've started teaching this now in Hormone Connection Seminar. Do you understand? The doctor is a business and you're a customer.
Yep.
You're a customer. That means when you walk to your doctor's office, if you don't like him, fire his ass. He doesn't control you.
Yep.
So Jean says, my hubby constantly reminds me that I'm not a doc, but he's on a bunch of meds. So she knows.
Guys, give me some answers to that. What would you guys say to that?
When you're on a lot of
You're
meds,
on a lot
it's
of
like,
meds?
where do we start going? It's like partly, we know what the meds are going to do. Not only is it altering brain function, but it can be altering physical function, especially from a male. Most of what male patients are on right now, you're not getting an erection. I can guarantee it.
That's
so
true.
That's when when I've got a guy in my office, it's like, listen, what's normal? You should be pole vaulting out of bed every day till you take a dirt nap. And if you're not, you're not functioning right. That's just end of story. And if you want testosterone, stop eating sugar all the time because you're converting your estrogen to testosterone.
Wait, I have to stop you because that was freaking funny.
That was good.
I've never even said you're pole
Pole
vaulting out of
vaulting.
bed.
Pole vaulting.
Wow, that was awesome, man. For all you women, you can have a visual there on that one. There.
I will be doing that
That's
into
right.
my 80s and 90s.
Absolutely. And as Shelby goes, oh, and all women are like, oh.
Funny
Where's
stuff.
that? We have to make a quote on my page for there. That Jeremy will be pole vaulting until his 80s and 90s and stuff like
So I
that.
take a dirt nap.
Hashtag.
Hashtag pole vaulting.
Here's a good one, Doc. Rachel said, when you said you wouldn't talk much, she said, hashtag I disagree.
Oh,
That's good.
Oh, so good.
wow. I love you, Rachel. Thank you.
But also overall in general, men are idiots.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to do anything. It's
And Nancy
Yeah.
goes, amen.
Men are stubborn when it comes to their health, so it's
It
not
is.
surprising that he's saying, you're not a doc. I don't care, no matter how many medications he's on.
But eventually, and it's unfortunate, but those people have to be like almost so sick.
Oh, say it.
Cancers and heart
That's right.
disease and heart attacks before they want to change. So obviously we pray that that doesn't happen, but you gotta do something different. You know what you're doing is not working. Again, you just have to change. It's really simple.
Now, I have
Bring
a
him to one of the inflammation talks.
Yes. I have a little theory based on your comment that way, and you guys can give me your perspective on this, okay? It's interesting because if a woman actually has any of those stressors, her biochemistry is thrown off, and actually she feels a lot worse faster when she's less sick than when a man really doesn't have any. Honestly, you know, yes, he may have high blood pressure, yes, he may have some things going on, but as far as feeling wise, he doesn't feel as sick as a woman, even though he can be way sicker.
Yep.
A woman's biochemistry and the hormone cascade that they have. So I just, and like I said, it's totally theory, but I just look at, for example, the biochemical aspect of how it affects their tissues much different compared to a man. Man, we feel great. I mean, you look at heart disease. Over the age of 40, this is a great stat, over the age of 40, the number one symptom that a guy has that they find out they have heart disease for 70% of males is death.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think
Yeah.
about that theory? I mean, in your clinical experience?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I
I'd say
agree.
so. Most of them, when you finally convince them they need a hormone panel run to see where they're at, they're like, I had no idea my testosterone was like that.
Yep.
I said, so if you don't test, you don't know, so how do you then know how to begin to protect your heart? So
Yep.
you kind of need what to protect a heart?
Testosterone.
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 But when they see the tests, they need to see that, and it's eye-opening for men. But
Yeah.
until they see the test, he's never going to change.
Yeah, so the comment that, like I said, that guy talking to his wife, you know, he sounds like an idiot, like you said.
Yeah.
And so what happens because why? His perspective is much different than his wife's.
Yep.
Because his wife is looking at him and seeing those things, but he doesn't feel like he's dying compared to a woman's. Things get thrown off a little bit, and it just devastates them more. And so therefore, guess what? So you have a husband and wife. And here's one thing I also want to say is this. This is the one thing that I can honestly say that I absolutely adore about women compared to men on this. And so let's run on your point, is the fact that when a woman will actually do good investigation. So the minute that we tell them, here's your hormones, here's your cardiometabolic panel, they actually take the time to really research it. So then that woman can become very well educated on it. And then what happens is she'll look at her husband and say, no, honey, I may not be a doc, but it's not hard to lead people to get them to understand this quite well.
Well, and also, too, how about this one? He's selfish. And
Yes.
men are selfish. Because if you took that whole bottle of blood pressure medication at once, it would kill you. So one pill at a time is going to kill you slowly. Eating sugar causes cancer and heart disease, yet you do it every single day. And you say that you love your family and you care about your kids, yet you're living a lifestyle that's taking you away from them early. That is such a selfish thing to do. You know?
Thank you.
So somebody asked, for example, what is a hormone panel? Okay, it's quite simple. The one thing that I can honestly say that I contributed to the whole healthcare field wasn't hormone testing, it was a perspective on it. Because I started to look at all the sick, it started with Christy, you know, my wife, but I started to look at all the patients coming in, and the one thing that what we stood up and I said, I disagree how they evaluate both men and women, was when they actually had hormones tested, they weren't testing wrong, because I could say one big mistake. Early in my career, I made a mistake when it came to saying what they were doing was wrong. But then you saw a panel and they measured estradiol, they measured TSH. So it wasn't that it was wrong, it was incomplete.
Yeah.
So when I started to come out and say, whoa, their testing's incomplete, then there wasn't actually much of a pushback from patients or doctors. But then the doctors would push back to the patient and say, well, they're not needed. Hold the phone. They're always needed.
Always.
It's just that they can't do anything for those hormones. So actually getting labs done, so Nancy can post the labs. See what I did, can I tell you a little story? If you guys don't mind?
Fine.
Go right
All right. I have to talk
You
for a
have our
second.
permission.
This is way before I even decided to do this, okay? Because I kind of remind me of this. When I started to figure this out, I didn't want to tell anybody because I wanted it to be mine.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? When I meant my mind, I only wanted the Wellness Way doctors to do it. And I was like, and I mean, this is a long time ago. I'm going, people say, how do you test hormones? I'm like, yeah, you got to come see me. You got to come see one of our docs. Then when I realized that even if I push everything out there, how all doctors look at stuff, they still never figure it out, even if they run the exact test that we do. I can honestly tell you, I was on the phone with a huge functional medicine clinic. They have 14 clinics down in the Chicago area. One of their doctors, for example, that I've gotten to know quite well, because she I helped her with one of her patients, and the lab, so she sent me a lab, and this was on Tuesday. She sent me a lab, and what her clinical director told her to do, and what I told her to do, dramatically different.
Yeah.
And they have in their functional medicine perspective. And so what I started to do is say, listen, I want to keep it all myself. But now you notice I'm like, Nancy, post those 2 labs. Because you know why? Because when Nancy posts them, any doctor can do them.
Yep.
But if their perspective is wrong on how they look at those things and their approach, you can even run them. Because medical doctors look at those labs all the time and say, yeah, they're off. I just don't want to do with them. Functional medicine is just going to give you 35 supplements for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that great perspective on there. So it's been kind of cool where so one time it clicked with me a long time ago to say, why am I hiding it all? Because that was my own personal growth.
Yeah.
That was my own personal growth to say, listen, I got to just give it to the world, and if this makes sense to people, and then all of a sudden I started to realize that people from all over the world, including doctors wives, call me up and go, oh, and doctors call and say, Doc, even I'm talking medical doctors, Doc, I ran the labs on my wife that you had, and I have no idea what to do with them. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what this means.
It's that application.
And I started to get more people come to us and say, okay, now here. So just a cool story I never thought I was going to ever tell. But yeah.
So here's a good question for all of us. So Elise asks, I'm afraid to let my Wellness Way doctor down, which has caused paralyzing anxiety. So she needs advice for that. So speaking personally as docs, Wellness Way docs specifically, is like we're all in.
Yes.
We're invested in you guys and we want to help you. The frustrating thing for us is when we go all in and patients don't want to change and they don't want to take advice. If you want it to take advice and you want to start making changes but you mess up, that's okay.
Yes.
We're here to help you get back on track. We're not expecting you to be perfect. We want to help you get results. So if you go off track, just being open and honest with you so we can help guide you back on track and in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that's why we do these videos, is so you can see how real and approachable we are. So if you do make mistakes, if you do fall off track, just be, like you said, being honest and coming to your doctor and being like, I didn't follow what you said, but I want to, or I need to get back to this. We're real people. We understand. Life happens, and we just want to make sure that you do get to where you need to be.
Well, in the world, you know, say this, people say, Doc, it's hard to eat good. Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
It is. The grocery store that I shop at, 99% of stuff in that grocery store is not good for you. It's not, that's what I said, the world sets you up for failure.
Yes.
In your health. We have a healthcare system that is dominated by money. We have a healthcare system dominated by corruption. And see, it's really funny because you say, Doc, wait, you know great medical professionals. Yes, but who controls them is actually a disgusting, process that way. It's a business that way. Our food system is set up for your failure.
Same thing.
So that's why I said we had to come up and say, I disagree with all this stuff.
This is what changed it all for me in becoming a part of the Wellness Way culture is you know, not only are we passionate about health and well-being, every single one of these doctors and people involved in these clinics live this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Do they live perfect? No. And that's why every day that I'm, you know, with our patients, I'm very open and honest about what I go through, what my family goes through. You know, so there's times I'll tell them, look, you're going to start this, and then trust me, you're going to get the heat from the family members that think you're nuts for going off of these foods and working on, you know, cleaning up your gut health. Or they'll say, you know, making dinner is such a pain. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, kind of. We tested all of our kids. Not all of our foods matched up. You make your vegetables, I'll make mine, and we'll try to have a common meat. And we make it, you know? And it's just like, that's what you do because we choose to be the example. And I try to be as vulnerable as I can because there is that perception that, well, look at you, doc. You look amazing. Your body's great. Well, yeah, I didn't look a whole lot different 2 years ago. But as I see those pictures now, I'm like, I was kind of chubby, you know? But I see my physique change, but I'm still not where I want to be.
Patients say to you like that, it's like, yeah, but you have to. You have to live that way. Why do I have to live that way and you don't have to?
Yeah.
That statement has always baffled me.
I don't have to, I choose to because
It's
I know
a
the
choice.
benefits.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I agree with, that I love that this culture lives it and you know, like.
You did bring up a good point. We all are getting sexier as we get older.
That's right.
You know, saying that face. I mean, I got to hang out with this man and his beautiful wife, and actually a couple other docs. We were at a seminar together last week that way that he spoke at, and I spoke at, and it was kind of cool. And I actually was like, I left his house on Sunday morning. I'm like, Doc, see you on Friday. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cool. And many states away, it's like that's the cool thing about building the culture, guys. And you're part of that. See, you're part of that. You know what I'm saying? I always love when patients come here and hang out in the waiting room and sit and talk to us, and you know, it was up to me. I just grab some organic coffee and sit in the waiting room all day and chat with everybody. You know, Sam, and we get to do this today. You know, we got some awesome videos we're shooting all day. I'm shooting some videos with your guys' brides and stuff, and because remember, so Dr. Shannon and I are gonna do a nice video. I think we're doing fibromyalgia video. We're gonna do a virus video. We're gonna do other things that way, and so it's kind of cool. We get to live life together, and we can't do anything without other great people. And I'm blessed, guys. I mean this sincerely, to actually have you guys every day be a part of my life. So it's culture.
If you want to be a part of that culture, what's the best way anyone following can find a doc in their areas? It's still twwclinics.com.
Yep.
And
So-
speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Nick that's watching. There's a lot of great chiropractors
Hey,
that are
Dr.
watching
Nick.
too. I got your text. We're going to connect about the Wellness Way soon. But with that being said, like a lot of us found the Wellness Way. Like for us, it was you helped his wife. I know she's told her Wellness Way story, and because we saw her story, then my wife came to you and got help too.
Yes.
So you've been able to help us, and we saw the way you helped us, and we're like, we have to give that to our community.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like we built this community of not only helping patients, but doctors that do life together
Ooh.
and have the same perspective that we
Yep.
want to bring to people.
That's the thing. That's the guys. That's the thing. Doing life together is awesome.
Yes.
I said that's why I kind of giggle. You know, I heard John Maxwell, one of the greatest speakers I've ever heard that way. He said, if you climb the top of a mountain and you're alone, you're not a leader, you're a hiker.